Peace, fam. So, my Zamal, my Nubian brother, they basically put me on to, this way. This is a new way. Basically, 99 reasons to free Dr. Malachi New York. As we all know, Dr. Malachi New York, he started the Nubian nation, and he woke up millions of souls. So, what will be my reason? I'm probably gonna give a couple, because y'all know how I do. So, the first reason of 99 reasons to free Dr. Malachi New York is because his impact on the world. If you look at rap, hip-hop, music in general, a lot of artists or mainstream artists was affected by him. Look, African Bambaataa, just people like Jay-Z, he was affected some way through, growing in his career. He was affected by Dr. Malachi New York. You have Prodigy, you have Joel Santana, you have Nas. There's a lot of people who mention Dr. Malachi New York in their rhymes, showing how much of an effect he had on our generation. And this is the new generation. These are my favorite artists that I'm looking up to, and he had such an effect on them. As a lot of people know, Dr. Malachi New York had a recording studio. So a lot of artists used to come to his recording studio to produce their music. So his impact on the rap game, his impact on the conscious community. His impact on the conscious community was basically, most of the concepts that we have. That's why I say Dr. Malachi New York, he's like the god or the king of the conscious community. Actually, I said that right, the god of the conscious community, because one of the main concepts that the conscious community has, the black woman is God. They got that from Dr. Malachi New York. He's the first black scholar who came out and wrote on mitochondrial DNA or mitochondrial Eve, breaking down how the black woman, she holds the lineage to humanity, right? In order to trace back our bloodline, we have to do that with the woman. So that's one way you see that he impacted the conscious community, because a lot of brothers in the conscious community uses that concept or that idea. And then you see in many other ways, when you talk about African history in general, or Egyptian predominantly history in general, Dr. Malachi New York is one of the first black scholars to come and break that down. As we know, he took his time. He broke down Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, taking us through Samaria, taking us back to Egypt. He took his time with the people. A lot of teachers, they came out and they taught on one subject. Dr. Ben, he came out and he's taught on one subject. A lot of different teachers, they came out and taught on one subject. And these are great teachers, don't get me wrong. But Dr. Malachi New York, he was so diverse. In turn, he was so much more effective when it comes to different crowds and people with different interests. If you're into the Islam, he came and broke that down entirely. If you're a 5%er, he came and broke that down entirely. If you're a Hebrew, he came and broke that down entirely. If you're a Christian, he broke that down entirely. And if you was on that wave of the Anunnaki in Samaria, he broke that down in its entirety. The first black scholar to come and do that when you talk about metaphysics, he came through and he broke down metaphysics, and eloquently. So as you can see, we're talking about a man in one lifespan who did so much, and then he went and created our own. He gave us our own land. He created his own land with hundreds of acres and built pyramids. Come on now. A lot of us in the conscious community, we're almost like obsessed with Egypt. And Dr. Malachi New York is the first black scholar, the first black leader to come and build pyramids, give us land, build houses on the compound, so people had a place to live. A lot of people don't know is that on Tamaray, that was the name of the land, we had our own currency. Dr. York, he had his own currency. And I like to say, what solves a lot of problems that we have today is our own governance. When we govern ourselves, then we solve a lot of problems when it comes to police brutality, when it comes to people poisoning our water, when it comes to people treating us wrong, when people using eugenics on us with Planned Parenthood. Dr. Malachi New York, he said, you know what? Y'all don't want to treat us right? I'm going to get my own land. I'm going to build pyramids. I'm going to build houses. And that way we want to give thanks to our ancestors. We have a particular place to give thanks to our ancestors. We can live in oneness. We can love each other. So what I'm trying to say here is Dr. Malachi New York, his influence. That's my reason. the influence he had on the world, the influence he had on music, the influence he had on the conscious community in general. A lot of scholars, a lot of brothers and sisters, knowingly and unknowingly uses his work. You know, so Dr. Malachi York, he influenced people a lot. Even a lot of people who hate on him, which is ridiculous because we're talking about a man that did so much. Even people who hate on him, they still use his work. Some of them unknowingly. They use his work unknowingly without even knowing that he wrote it. And then later on they'll find out, it's like, yo, this man, he did this, he wrote this, and I'm using this, and it's just, it's mind-boggling. So I would have to say he affected my life. Someone asked me if I knew him. He affected my life in a major way. You know, I was conscious. I was a part of what you would call, not, I wouldn't say conscious community, but I was conscious. I studied everyone from Bobby Hemmett to Phil Valentine to Dr. Delbert Blair to, you know what I'm saying, a lot of scholars, Anthony Brewer, you know, even Dr. Ben. I studied a lot of these scholars, but when I came to Dr. Malachi York, he put all the puzzle pieces together. See, with all the other cases, like this, that, I'm trying to reach and he put it all in one place. You know, it all tied together perfectly. And I'm an analytical dude. So any of these cats that I study, I never believed what they said. But what I would do is actually do a study on it. See, all of his books, every single one of his books that I read, I don't just take it by face value. What I would do is I would actually research it and study it and make sure it's real. And surprisingly, it's crazy. If you ever heard about the Bin stone, right? The Bin is a stone, they say is a meteorite that came from outer space to our planet. Basically use it for the pyramid caps, and they have one in at the Kaaba in Mecca. A Bin stone basically is one of the primordial things that started the primordial life evolution on this planet. He wrote that in a book called The Stargate. I was like, the Bin stone. The first thing I did was look it up, and it's actually there. And you have plenty of scholars talking about the Bin stone. That's one example. And then it's so many other examples when it comes to mitochondrial DNA. That's one big thing I had to study. When it came to genetic kits, I had to study that. And working in a hospital in the medical field, I had to research this stuff, seeing what people with bipolar disorder or schizophrenia. And I'm like, yo, these people that have bipolar disorder, that can literally be sparked by your genetics. And I studied that, and the National Health Institute, they literally said that. They said bipolar disorder can be sparked by your genetics. Look it up. Go to National National Institute of Health and check that up. Go on their website under genetics, and they break down bipolar disorder. And they say that it can be sparked by your genetics. And what we do know is that our genes are actually living. They're alive, just like our blood cells. Everything within us is alive. They have a consciousness. When we're sleeping, our body naturally breathes by itself. Right? So there's parts and compounds of our body that's alive that we don't even know it. Our sperm is alive. It literally races to the ovum. So what I'm basically saying is that he affected and impacted my life in a major way because he took my mind to the next level. You know? And one thing I love with him, his famous saying, "Don't believe me, check it out." That's one thing a pastor will never tell you is don't believe me, check it out. It's because a lot of things these pastors say, it just don't make no damn sense. Right? So when you go and research it, you're going to come back and ask them, wait, so if you're telling me the Egyptians are bad, why was Jesus, why did God tell the angels to tell Mary to send Jesus to Egypt? Take that to the pastor, and the pastor ain't going to know how to respond to that. They say he was learned in the way of the priest. The only priest that he was around growing up was the Egyptians. And now we see why he walked on water and things of that sort. See, that's why they don't want people to ask questions. Dr. York, he said, you know what? You don't believe me? You don't have to believe me. Go check it out for yourself. So I'm not going to hold y'all too long. That's my 99 reasons that we need to free Dr. Malachi York is because his influence on the world, his influence on the planet, his influence on the solar system, because our consciousness affects the state of our planet. Mind over matter, our consciousness affects the state of our solar system. We can affect and change matter. Mind over matter. Alright, y'all. 99 reasons to free Dr. Malachi York. Y'all have a great day. And I'll link with y'all soon. Peace and love.